The book The End of History and the Last Man by political scientist Francis Fukuyama, published in 1992, has garnered widespread readership and sparked controversy in the realm of political philosophy. Fukuyama argues that the conclusion of the Cold War in 1991 solidified Western liberal democracy as the ultimate and most successful form of government, thereby signifying the end of mankind's ideological evolution. Over the years, the book has undergone updates in 2006 and 2019, reaffirming and refining its original thesis. Upon its initial release, The End of History ignited spirited discussions among academics and media pundits. Fukuyama posits that the end of the Cold War symbolizes the end of history, not in terms of ongoing events, but as an endpoint in the progression of human history. This perspective parallels a linear, secular eschatology, a theological branch concerned with the final judgment in the afterlife. According to Fukuyama, this endpoint entails a global transition to liberal democracies and their accompanying economic system, capitalism. While individual states may retain distinct national characteristics, their internal dynamics would exhibit similarities in terms of material abundance, free and fair elections, and egalitarianism within the legal system. The author also suggests that this worldwide adoption of the liberal democratic model could potentially usher in an era of reduced military conflicts, as liberal democracies during the Cold War maintained amicable international relations. The book comprises 5 parts, each addressing significant themes or clusters of ideas. The first part delves into the prevailing ideological trends of the modern period and explores the concept of a universal history for humankind. The second part of the book delves deeper into the ideological battle between communism and liberalism that unfolded during the Cold War. It also explores the prerequisites necessary for the establishment of a liberal democracy, such as education and technological advancement. Moving on, the third part delves into the concept of identity and its evolution throughout Western thought's history. Part 4 of the book focuses on attitudes towards work and examines obstacles faced by liberal democracies, such as political nationalism and religion. Finally, in the concluding section, the book examines the negative aspects of liberal democracies, including socioeconomic inequality. Fukuyama draws upon the ideas of 19th-century German philosopher Georg Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel to situate his argument about the end of history. He adapts Hegelian historicism, which posits an evolutionary approach guided by the spirit of history, to the realities of the 20th century. To establish liberalism as the optimal ideology, Fukuyama takes a broad overview of the modern period, encompassing the scientific revolution, the Enlightenment, European colonialism, world wars, the Holocaust, the Cold War, and the advent of nuclear weapons. He argues that the modern period gave rise to 3 significant ideologies: liberalism, communism, and fascism. Each ideology has a distinct focal point and a driving force akin to Hegel's spirit of history. Fascism centers around the state or race, communism focuses on class, while liberalism, being the oldest and sole surviving ideology of modernity, centers around the individual as its historical subject. Fukuyama highlights the collapse of fascism in 1945 and communism in the late 1980s, characterizing them as ideologies with global ambitions. He concludes that it is not coincidental that liberalism emerged as the only modern ideology capable of achieving global prominence and influence. In The End of History and the Last Man, Francis Fukuyama explores the ideas of various notable philosophers alongside Hegel. Figures such as Thomas Hobbes, John Locke, Karl Marx, and Friedrich Nietzsche are also examined. Fukuyama ambitiously seeks to establish a universal history of humankind by tracing the transformation of key concepts in political philosophy, including individual human identity and the social contract between the state and its citizens. However, it is important to note that this universal history is presented primarily from a Western perspective and is then applied to non-Western parts of the world. The author evaluates non-Western regions through categories such as technological innovation, which positions the West as being ahead in the modern period, while categorizing many countries in Latin America, Southeast Asia, and Africa as underdeveloped. Fukuyama's approach assumes a singular and unified human history, written predominantly from a Western standpoint, rather than acknowledging culturally specific local and regional histories. This perspective aligns with modern thinking and stands in contrast to the postmodern rejection of such grand narratives. However, Fukuyama acknowledges that technological advancement does not guarantee moral behavior, as exemplified by historical events like the Holocaust and the U.S. atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. While equal rights, education, and economic development are rational elements in a liberal democracy, Fukuyama also emphasizes the importance of recognition of one's identity by others, which is a less rational but significant aspect. He employs the ancient Greek term thymos to refer to this concept and traces its modern development from Hegel's notion of recognition worth dying for in a bloody battle to the present-day peaceful way of recognizing the other as an equal. According to Fukuyama, nationalism and religion are the primary obstacles to establishing liberal democracies, particularly when they find political expression. He argues that these traditional forms of communal relationships should be adapted to align with liberal democracies, such as removing their political aspects and reducing them to benign forms like ethnic cuisines. However, Fukuyama acknowledges that these traditional ties have historically strengthened communities, and he warns against the potential dangers of atomization and loneliness in highly advanced liberal democracies. The author devotes the final chapters of the book to examining some of the drawbacks of the preferred political system. These drawbacks include economic inequalities, crime, and substance abuse. On a deeper level, Fukuyama ponders whether the material abundance, safety, and security offered by liberal democracies might lead to the emergence of what Friedrich Nietzsche criticized as the last men. These individuals would be passive and solely focused on material comforts, lacking the risk-taking and great creative passions that have characterized humanity in the past. The end of history and the last men is a significant contribution to 20th century political philosophy. Fukuyama demonstrates his deep understanding of the history of Western thought, presenting it in an accessible manner. The book provides numerous historical examples to support his arguments, showcasing the author's erudition. However, since its initial publication, the world has undergone significant transformations, and these changes have not always favored liberal democracy. For instance, the rise of China with its alternative social and political system in the 21st century poses a serious challenge to the idea of an end of history. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did, and be sure to subscribe. Thank you.